Hey, I'm Tristan.
I'm Jess.
And we're from Snakt, and we wanted to make this video to share a lot of what we've been thinking, really as a message to the creator community, and as the beginning of a conversation with everybody about what we see in the video space right now and what we're hoping to do about it as a platform. 2017 has been a really eventful year for the creator community. We have seen what is being referred to as the adpocalypse. It's a very internet term for a very internet phenomenon. But I think it really raises a lot of questions like, is this temporary or is it permanent? Is this the new normal, or is this something that is just gonna go away after a while? Are we just gonna remember, oh yeah, the beginning of 2017 was a really rough year, but after that, everything was back to normal. We've looked at this a lot and studied it very carefully from a business perspective. And we've been trying to look at what's been going on a lot of the other platforms as well, not just YouTube, but also Facebook and Twitter and Snapchat, even Daily Motion. And what we've really seen is, unfortunately, it looks like this is here to stay. What's happening is that there's a broader business trend here that a lot of these platforms, they're all moving up market. They're actually being focused more and more on partnerships with larger media companies, and those partnerships are going to be the key for driving YouTube and Facebook and all these platforms going forward. We're talking about an entity like YouTube partnering with an entity like Disney. We're talking about an entity like Twitter partnering with an entity like Bloomberg. It's big companies coming together on these big partnerships, and it's not going to be as focused on individual creators, no matter how large those creators are. So I'm going to go through a bit of an analysis here with exactly what we have found. So there's a general pattern that a lot of people have discovered in the business world, where a successful company, once it has actually achieved success and gotten really big, that they actually need to keep moving up market because they need to keep on finding higher and higher profit margins to satisfy all of their shareholders and partners that they work with, and so forth and so on. It creates what's referred to in like business literature as the innovator's dilemma. And it's something that we can actually see very clearly now with YouTube is a really great example of this. YouTube is the first mass market digital video platform. They're the ones who deployed AdSense, which was the first monetization model for digital video. Now there have been other competitors as well. There's obviously Facebook, and of course then Facebook bought Instagram, and then Instagram started rolling out video. Then there's Twitter, which of course had Vine, but then shut it down. There's also Snap, and there's also Daily Motion, which we often forget about, but is still the biggest video platform in Europe, last I checked. All of this competition, plus the exponentially growing supply of videos, has meant downward pressure on the CPM, the rate that creators get paid for views on YouTube. This is actually the rational thing for these platforms to do, is to move up market. It's not that there's any kind of ill will toward creators, that they don't like creators anymore. Like or not like is not really the issue here. It's just that if you're one of the executives of YouTube, you need to actually make more and more money from advertising every year. And what advertisers want is larger and larger supplies of inventory against which to place their ads. And they want that inventory to be both large and of high consistent quality. So where are they going to find large amounts of consistently high quality, from their perspective, content? It's from The Tonight Show, it's from Saturday Night Live, it's from big companies that have very high budgets and can churn out content at, in large amounts and with higher watch times too. They're putting entire episodes of things like Jimmy Fallon up onto YouTube, and then you end up watching the entire thing on there. What's happening now is that they're taking that rational step of moving up market. And we've seen YouTube do this probably more than just about anybody. In 2015, YouTube launched YouTube Red as their first premium subscription service. In 2016, they made the largest changes to the algorithm to date, as a lot of you know, and has been covered very well. The changes there to favor watch time, and that a number of YouTubers have now figured out ways to push back against, and now we're seeing the length of YouTube videos keeps getting longer as people try to react to that big change. Now in 2017, we saw the launch of YouTube TV. And that's really the trend line as we're seeing it happen, is that it's really about these digital platforms are really just trying to be TV on the internet. What the innovator's dilemma theory actually holds is that in a lot of these situations, the big incumbent companies will actually provide, they'll really over-deliver on what their original product was and create a product that people did not want and did not ask for. Now, critically, YouTube and its rivals actually have the perfect partners, like I was saying, for this big change. As viewing patterns continue to shift, and now there's a lot of evidence that mobile and web viewing are actually higher than TV viewing, particularly for anybody under 40 in the US. Those trend lines continue, and as a result, the major media companies really need to find a way to get onto your phone. They need to find a way to get onto your computer. And the best way for them to do that is to work with YouTube and to work with Facebook. So this is the new world that has emerged. It's a giant partnership between the biggest digital video distributors and the biggest content makers. And so what we're seeing there is that those are the partnerships that are going to matter increasingly, and other partnerships with individual creators are really not going to be as important. So YouTube is actually far from alone in all of this. It's happening on Facebook too. They've adjusted their algorithm to account more for watch time. Instagram and Facebook both have made it harder for individual creators to actually reach their own audiences without boosting. Twitter, of course, shut down Vine. And then what did they do? They now have a partnership with Bloomberg to start a new 24-hour news network. And they have a deal with BuzzFeed. They have a deal with Live Nation. Like, that's who they're looking to work with now, not King Batch or Lily Pons.
When companies become publicly traded, there's a certain level to which the board has
the shareholders,
it's just bottom line business,
right?
And
because
it has less to do with what they want to do and more to do with the fact that there's a whole board of people to report to.
So there's a lot higher expectations on YouTube to actually deliver larger and larger amounts of profit every year. And now because of that, YouTube is a critical portion of Alphabet's revenue, and that's here to stay. And one thing that's also worth noting is that there are, of course, the smaller platforms that are not owned by public companies yet, but really the focus there with all of them seems to be mostly on live streaming. Between Lively, Live.me, and YouNow, like, those companies all are doing very well, but they're all focused on live streaming. I think the question is, what will be a more general purpose video platform? What will be a platform that any video creator can use that will help fill the vacuum that YouTube is really leaving behind? So really what this means is that the big players are doing their thing. They're taking an action. And the question I think that creators have to answer is, what does a smart creator do in response to all of that? We talked to a lot of you about this. The rational business move for a creator is to diversify, to find other platforms, to find other sources of revenue.
I think over the course of the last year, as we head into VidCon 2017, the word diversify has been said in pretty much every panel at all of the video conferences.
We're starting to see the difference in it, and some creators have been very public about the fact that they're making these kind of shifts. Phil DeFranco is one, H3 is another.
It's not that dissimilar to the music industry when you just have to continue innovating on top of what you've already been doing.
That's the thing, the other older mediums have actually faced this issue already. So there's actually a bit of a roadmap for how video can survive these changes and this evolution that's occurring right now. It took TV decades to get this right. There are different ways that TV pays creators. There's ad-supported stuff, that's ABC, it's whatever. There's also subscriber-based programming, that's HBO. There's also PBS. Obviously, PBS is not, super, flush with cash, but there is a universe in which you can have donor-supported programming to at least some degree. So now, digital video, as it enters its second decade of existence, it needs to actually start developing and perfecting these other forms of revenue, and we've started to see that a bit. Patreon has obviously done a lot of good for a lot of creators. There's also tips on Live.me, Lively, on Twitch, on YouNow. Obviously there are brand deals, and those are going to continue to be a major part of a lot of the revenue stream for a lot of creators. But the money that was there from AdSense, that's something that is, probably not going to be there in as predictable and high of a stream as it has been in the past. And of course, if you're a Viner, the entire platform went away and you had to figure out how you were going to reinvent yourself.
It's probably a great case of how diversifying is not only just insurance, but also means that, the rug can't be pulled out from under you.
Now, as for subscriptions, we've actually seen that hasn't really worked that well so far for creators. Vessel, obviously, it tried to operate on that. And I think the key to that was the fact that they were forcing the fans to pay. And if you are a YouTuber, then a huge number of your fans are probably teens. If you're talking about a younger audience, then asking people to pay for content that they're used to getting for free is not exactly going to be a great way to build your business. And then I think we've seen the same with YouTube Red to a degree, that the numbers are just not exactly what YouTube was expecting. So now this gets interesting, because I think that there's a lot of really great things that can happen. The thing about having a vacuum or a blank slate to work with is that you can get creative. And we've been building Snakt for a while now. Just the changes that we've seen since last October is just insane. So we've really thought long and hard about exactly what we can do to both make sure that creators can actually make up some of the shortfalls that they've experienced because of these changes, as well as to build a platform that's actually going to be a stronger community that can actually help creators and their fans interact with one another, support one another in ways that the existing technologies haven't up to this point.